medical. I have medical marijuana in Florida.
Blunt time. Blunt time. And on this blunt time, we're going to talk about dreams.
Should we start?
Yeah, we're starting. This is
Okay.
it. I think blunt time 2.0. The
Medical
next
marijuana.
2 minutes. Oh, wait, we're not recording it, are we?
Oh, we are. Do you want to start
2.0. The next 2 minutes. The next 2 minutes is blunt time.
Ganja. Episode 2 of Hefner and Perler. What did you think of
talking
episode
about-
1?
I was so nervous.
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking.
Talking about my dad is scary.
Yeah.
And not being famous, but having any sort of audience is scary. Like, I think I avoid. It is interesting because I used to avoid, like, I used to tell people my dad was Hugh Hefner so then I could get friends.
Mm.
And then I stopped and I made, like, and then it felt good to know that people were my friend without, talking about it.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. It's probably like it gets redundant after a while, like having the same explanation for every question that someone has.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, I was doing child acting, and I would get the same questions over and over again about what was it like being in this movie? What was it like being with this actor? Blah blah blah. And like at a certain point, you just don't want to talk about it anymore. If it comes up, you just
You
try
made
to.
that good money though.
I did pretty well for a kid. Yeah, yeah. I made a good start
That's a
to my
W.
life. It is. Yeah. I'm very lucky.
And then but you didn't invest it all in comic books, unfortunately.
No, I didn't. I didn't take that path, unfortunately.
What'd you invest it in?
Honestly, not much. I feel like I kind of flunked out on investing up until as of late, and I don't even know if it's like that great right now because I have
Weren't
like
you like 12 years old? Wait,
well,
you're like, how
I was
could-
just
you didn't
it was
know
just
it?
going into a savings account. It wasn't like going
Yeah.
into like and it didn't grow though.
You didn't invest it in stocks.
I didn't know. I was 12, and my parents. I don't know what they were thinking. They didn't do anything.
They should
They
have
sh-
made a
they-
trust for you, dude.
They should have put it into something where it would grow. I don't get why
Yeah,
that never
or
happened.
spent it all on Pokemon cards, just giving you the best fucking childhood. Like, you want to go to McDonald's 4 times today? Like, Chuck E. Cheese,
God.
motherfucker.
I would have loved that. That would have been so much fun. But yeah, I never put it into anything, and I regret that. And it wasn't until later, like, I got into like crypto stuff, and like, look at crypto now. It's not that fucking great. So
It's because we're in a recession. Everything's not great.
I know,
Literally
I know.
everything. I'm following comic books, and it's like the same as crypto. Everything's the same.
Yeah, it's just I know. I can't look at it though. It upsets me.
It
I didn't
actually
put.
went
I didn't
up.
put.
I don't know
it-
if you noticed it. It went up.
Yeah, my crypto I invest in Ethereum and some others, and it did go up, which is great. But I don't know.
It's
Crypto
gonna go back
freaks
down
me out.
apparently.
It's so volatile.
You know, it's a fun thing that it's so volatile. It's fine. You know, it's a fun thing I learned is that if it's going like this, it never stays like this.
No.
It's
if
too
it's going like
volatile.
that, what about that?
Yeah, I think both of us. If it's,
If it's
going,
going
like
down,
that, I don't learn.
We don't
real
talk
much
about
for
that. We don't talk about
Yeah,
it.
no.
Just try to ignore it.
Just delete the app.
I there was a point like when I first got into crypto ages ago, like where I remember the first time I bought a coin, I stayed up 24/7 after I bought it, looking at the market for no reason. I was just paranoid, scared, and I wound up selling and I lost money. I was just so stupid. It was like I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I watched it for immediately after I bought it, and it tanked.
Yeah.
And then it went back up, and then it tanked, went back up. It was just like this. I don't know. I can't look at it anymore. So I just bought Ethereum, and I don't look at it anymore. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, we both have a nice holdings in Ethereum.
Yeah, and we both got
And
in
that
around the
shit's
same
gonna
time.
go to the moon.
I
Yeah.
hope so. I think the technology behind it's pretty amazing. I don't understand how it works or anything, but there's like a big network of things that are connected to Ethereum that run off of Ethereum, and it's exciting to see that and be a part of that early on.
Yeah.
We're at the infancy, and that's an
Mm-hmm.
exciting thing. Yeah.
For sure. So we're gonna talk about dreams, right?
Yeah, I
I
want to
want to
talk
talk about
about
my
that.
dream real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I grew up. So I grew up in a home where, like, my mom's home was on this side of like two homes. I had two homes. One was my dad's home, and then the other was my mom's home, and they shared the same wall. And that wall
Hmm.
had a single door, and you opened up that door to go to my dad's house, or if I wanted to go to my mom's house, I opened up that door. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because my dad wanted me to be able to just come over whenever. Just pretty nice if you think about it, because it means that you're always welcome.
Yeah, that's nice.
Um, so at that door on my mom's side, so like on my mom's home, I had a dream, and my dad's security guard was there.
Hmm.
He was dressed all in black, except he wasn't supposed to be there, and I didn't know why he was there. It was like kind of a horror movie. I just knew that this was someone who was in a different context supposed to, keep me safe. But in that moment, like, nobody called over the security guard. My dad had security guards, by the way. Nobody called over the security guard. Nobody like asked him to come over to protect us from a burglar. He was just standing there.
Hmm.
It was eerie
That's terrifying. Was it at
and
night? Did this
fitting
take
for
place?
Halloween.
Was the dream at night? Like a night. This it took place at night. Not did the dream happen at night?
Um, Maybe like when the sun was going down.
Hmm. Yeah, that's creepy. Do you
Yeah,
have dreams often, or are they rare?
often. I don't
Yeah.
record them though, so I forget them.
Yeah, I forget them pretty quickly after, and it really upsets me because like I wake up, I go to the bathroom, and while I'm sitting on the toilet, I'm like trying to chase that dream and figure out what was happening, but I can never do it. It's so frustrating. Sometimes I can, then I quickly write it down, but I
What
don't
does it
think I'm.
mean though?
I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
that's what we're talking about. You're supposed to tell me what my dream means.
I think it means that I think you might have worried about your dad's safety.
There's a little creeper in my front yard.
Yeah. I don't
Can't
know.
get rid of him.
Do you think there's reason? I don't know
My
if there's
dad's
like.
safety.
I don't know. I mean, anybody
You're
guess.
just throwing out ideas. I'm throwing out ideas. He's like. All right. He's like a man who's like. He's just like whatever. All right. Shall we get to yours?
I haven't had any dreams lately, and it upsets me because I love dreams. But I do want to talk about something kind of related to dreams.
Can
Sleep
I take a
paralysis.
bathroom break real quick?
Yeah, let's take a
Cool.
quick break. I want to talk
So sleep
about
paralysis.
Yeah, I want to talk about sleep paralysis and my experiences with that because I've been having sleep paralysis since I was probably like 6 years old or so, like a very early age, but I was conscious when I was starting to have it. And
Mm-hmm.
my earliest memory of sleep paralysis was when I was about in that age range, and I was sick with a fever, and I was probably on like so many like medicine supplements and stuff. So
Because you were on like that like hardcore antibiotics, so
yeah,
little children get put on.
the intense children's NyQuil, and I look. I had this moment with the sleep paralysis where like I had this kind of out of body experience where I floated over to my humidifier in the room, and inside of the humidifier was Buzz Lightyear and Woody from Toy Story dancing inside. And like I saw them like a little miniature, and inside the humidifier it was like a little bit of a blue light in there. So like, and I saw them, and they were like these transparent versions of Woody and Buzz Lightyear dancing, inside the humidifier.
Here's why that's dope to me,
Yeah.
and it's so obvious why it's dope to me. Toy Story isn't supposed to exist except for children.
Hmm.
It's this, oh no, it doesn't even exist for children. It's a secret world that we cannot access as humans. And you were like leaving your body and getting access to something that's not supposed to exist,
Hmm.
like right here, like right now, which unless you're a crazy person or you're a hippie nonsense, whatever, whatever you name you want to. I think that's so cool
It
that
is
like your
cool.
dream was telling you like this is something that's not supposed to be real, but like it
Yeah.
was.
I feel like that's a common theme with just my experiences, like with either sleep paralysis, dreams, thoughts and ideas and experiences where like I'm just getting access to something and I'm not supposed to be there and I'm just kind of like observing, seeing something I'm
Whoa.
not supposed to see. That's been a common theme. And
Yeah.
with the sleep paralysis, that's continued up until now. I haven't had it actually in the past couple of years or so.
Yeah.
Um, I did research and I found out it has to do a lot with dehydration when you go to sleep. And I've been trying to drink more in the evenings before I go to bed just to be hydrated. But also, sleep paralysis isn't the most fun thing either.
Yeah. It's
So,
interesting because sometimes I don't have sleep paralysis, but just when I read, like, it doesn't happen, it happens very infrequently and it hasn't happened for like 8 months or something. But I used to read my Kindle and like the words would start to like come apart and I would start to like basically my reality would be shaken. And
mm,
it wasn't uncomfortable, it was just simply that like the objective reality, which is like you can touch things and they're going to be there, like that start stuff was starting to come apart.
mm.
um and then I came to, but I
What
feel
is
like
that?
we get glimpses to this into this stuff and it kind of makes me excited for death because I wonder if it's gonna happen.
I'd imagine that there's some sort of experience as you're dying or when you die where you go somewhere else pretty intense. I think they know at this point that like cuz I think we from what I understand is like when you die like something like shoots like some sort of like electrical thing happens when you die. It's like this last burst. And I think people might people believe that that might be some sort of like hallucinogenic trip happening, like some sort of
Well, I
natural
think
DMT. Yeah,
DMT gets hit into your brain when you die, and so they're wondering if that's what
that would make
it
sense for all the
yeah.
stories of people who died and then came back. There's so many
Hmm.
stories of people that got into car accidents, went to comas, and they're like, I saw God, I went to heaven. What if it was just some sort of shoot off, like electrical shoot off of like DMT or some sort of like experience like that?
That would make sense. Also, there are cases of people who die who are, legally dead, and then they have details of what happened, like in the ambulance, like car, like as they're driving, they can name like the people um, who were helping them, try to resuscitate them. They have knowledge of things that obviously you can't get if you're technically dead. So it's interesting. I think a lot of people who die have like this these experiences where it's definitely not nothing.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. It's a scary thought too. Like I don't know, but I always like try to like if I ever freak out about like dying or whatever, I always just think, well, I was fine before I was here.
I don't think it's
I'll
scary.
be okay after.
I think it's just like a trip, man. Like you're stoned right now. What a trip. Like this
Hmm.
is a weird fucking, or just not even weird. It's an eccentric world that we live in where things are unexpected and yet like there are so many things that are predictable. And
Hmm.
then like that learning, like the only way that we can know what happens afterwards is if we actually do it.
Hmm.
Like, I'm glad that I die. I'm not saying I would like to die. I don't know when exactly I'd like to die, but I'm really glad I'm going to.
Would you take eternal life if you were offered it?
No, unless that's like a part of like the deal. Like once you die, I really want to know what happens at the end game.
Hmm.
Like it's like a video game. What happens?
If you were offered it like tomorrow, you get a letter in the mail that you're going to be immortal if you send back an RSVP. Would you take
No.
that? No. No. Why not?
Well, I don't know. I want to be with Anna
Hmm.
forever. Anna's my wife. I want to be with Anna forever. So I probably would. I probably would. And then I get to have my baby
But the letter's just for
and
you.
curse him with eternal. No, why are you making?
It's not.
No,
There's
I wouldn't do that. No,
okay. I
would
feel like I
you?
would have to. Yeah, I would definitely would. I totally would.
You know what would be cool about living forever is that then like my comic book investments are just gonna go up and up
Infinitely.
and up. Yeah,
Yeah.
like infinitely. Like I could hold on to the like those profits for like 2,000 years.
It's a very,
X Men number
very,
one, 2,000 years from now.
very long term investment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Would
do
you
it
do
just for
that?
the. Yeah, I would do it just for the sake of like, how cool would it be to watch history unfold
Yeah.
of our world and see how far we go? I mean, if we all nuke each other and somehow I stay behind because I'm invincible, like, that would suck and I can't die and I'm just here by myself. But like,
That's
I
the
don't
big
know.
one, dude. That no, it's not like I don't know. That's a big
That
one.
that would
You're
be my
stuck
only
in fucking space.
that would be my only like caveat with immortality is that eventually Earth won't exist, and then what am I? Where am
You're
I? Do
just
I?
stuck in space.
Would that could be an interesting thing? What if you're just floating along and then you land on another planet and you're the alien?
5,000 years later, and
Yeah,
maybe there's nothing on that planet.
maybe not. I don't know. I'm up for the space journey, just floating
I like
around.
this.
That's
I
kind
like
of
that. This
imagine
is
all
your
the
take
thoughts
on
you could
it.
do. You'd probably be. It would be like one of those scenarios where like you're in an insane asylum and you're in one of those like white padded rooms, and then you just create your own world around you.
Yeah, yeah.
As I knock
That's
over
fine.
my
It
microphone.
didn't sound that bad on my end.
Imagine you'd wind up creating your own world.
Yeah.
If you're in space floating
I
alone,
think
you would
I
create a
think
world in front of you.
I think the truth is we're so social though that if you didn't have people,
I could talk to myself.
yeah.
I could create a whole world in my head if I wanted to and just dive right into it.
Mm.
That would be my safety mechanism in deep space. But I don't know. The idea of seeing world growth and change, from an invincible, immortal standpoint, that's pretty cool. Because I'm always
Huh.
curious. Like I always think like, what movies am I not going to see when I die? What books will I not read? What
You're
like
not going to be able to finish the Marvel universe,
no,
the Marvel Cinematic Universe
that's
because we
infinite.
die.
But it'll go beyond me, even within my immortality, because they're just going to be making reboots over and over again.
Yeah, you'll just watch it.
Iron Man 3455, starring
You won't
Robo
be able to.
Downey Jr.
Yeah, that's funny.
There are like things though in life that really keep me going, like wondering about the mysteries of our world. Because one sleep paralysis thing that I had was in my childhood home. I must have been like 19 years old or so, and I had this experience where a womanly figure was standing on my ceiling wearing a black
Oh,
bridal
it's so
outfit.
dark in here. You're scaring me. Fuck.
Okay. Well, just it'll be okay.
No, keep
It'll be
going. I'm
fine.
listening.
Yeah. She was wearing a black bridal dress with a veil over her face. And the instant it happened that I saw her, my heart dropped, but then vroom, vibrations filled the room. And I started getting like, she was starting to speak to me telepathically, saying, "Everything's going to be okay. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to protect you, just over and over again saying that. And all of my
Yeah.
fears of her like physical being disappeared.
Uh,
I instantly felt this warm like, and I wasn't high, by the way. I was completely sober when this happened, when I fell asleep.
that's a mom, right? That's got to be a mom figure.
It's some sort of guardian angel telling me that I'm going to be
Hmm.
okay and that she's here to protect me. And I believe that she is. I believe that she might be here. She might be in my ceiling right now, looking at me, laughing.
She is.
But that's okay. Like her physical presence and appearance is scary, but the message and warmth that she brought me was, I'll never. It's like that's nothing you could ever
You have a
forget.
relationship with fear and guardianship, I think.
I do. I do. I go towards fear. I go towards risks, and it excites me. So when
Same.
something like that enters my house and is standing on my ceiling, telling me that they're here to protect me, that's awesome. I think it's a
That's
great
what I
thing. It's
love about
beautiful.
that. I agree. I love the lesson potentially being like go towards something that scares the fuck out of you and it's going to protect you and take care of you and
Yeah.
love you.
Because eventually it'll work its way out. It might look scary at first, but it'll work its way out.
You
And
get so many lessons from this terrifying
sleep paralysis
thing
teaches
that
you
you
a
have.
lot. It does,
Yeah.
because it teaches you a lot because it feels so real, and it's so like avant-garde and abstract what you're experiencing. But I don't know. It amazes me. I'm almost upset that I haven't had it in like about a year or two,
I don't know.
because
Just get
it's
high on shrooms, right?
or just
It's a
dehydrate
different.
myself. Well, there's nothing
Yeah.
like getting this experience naturally without psychedelics. The fact that
Yeah.
I could go get that experience without, in like, you know, having anything participate in it is kind of cool. That's pretty amazing that our brains can do that just on its own.
Yeah. I also like that in a different culture you would be like in touch with the spirit realm. Like in a indigenous like spiritual culture, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
There would be
yeah,
yeah.
you'd have to imagine that a lot of the stories and folklore of, Native Americans,
It wouldn't be
Mayans,
like labeled like sleep paralysis.
exactly.
It would be totally, you know.
I got visited by a demon. That's what they
Yeah,
would say
yeah.
because that's what happened. They don't have the scientific knowledge of what sleep paralysis is and why it
Yeah.
happens. And
Knowledge, yeah.
yeah, to explain what sleep paralysis is, it's basically when you're waking up during your REM cycle, like your REM part of the night, where it's like you're about to wake up, but you kind of prematurely wake up, and it's your brain scrambling.
And the REM cycle is the dream cycle. I don't know if you just said that, but
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, dream cycle. And
yeah.
if you're waking up during that prematurely, it can cause sleep paralysis.
Fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. It's.
You know
I
what's an
hope
interesting
everyone
thing about the
experiences
REM
it.
cycle?
What?
The REM cycle is like super important. Super important, but I take Ambien and so I don't even have a REM cycle.
So how do you? You're still able to dream though.
No.
Wait,
Yeah,
how
I
did?
am. It's so strange.
Okay.
I can dream and dreams come from REM cycles. This is as far as I know. I still dream, but I'm
Mm,
certain that you don't get a REM, you don't get the rapid eye REM cycle, rapid eye movement. You don't get the
yeah.
rapid eye movement.
Mm,
So it's like a big. Um, that's why people are saying don't take these things unless you really need them
mm.
because the REM cycle is important.
It is. Yeah. It's
I'm,
is it
I'll
they
shoot
say it's
myself in the
healthy.
foot here. I'll shoot myself in the foot here because I don't have one, but it's like really important for regulating emotions.
Mm,
So like if you wake up, if like you're with someone who's like really pissed off at like Starbucks or if you're at your job and somebody's just being a dick to you, it's like maybe they didn't get good sleep.
mm.
I'm pretty good though, guys. Like I'm not an asshole,
No,
most
you're
of the
very
time.
good. No, yeah. I'm curious. I wonder if your dreams are more vivid if you're not dancing in the REM world. Like, I wonder if it's more
Yeah, I don't
intense.
know.
Are your dreams like very like how real do they feel? Do you know that you're dreaming or are you in that world? You're invested 100%?
I just it's usually when I wake up like right after like like if I'm dreaming and then I wake up for some reason in the middle of the night or whatever, then I can remember the dream, I think. But like if I wake up and there's no REM or I don't remember. Sometimes I just don't remember dreams. I don't really know.
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
Have Have you ever fallen in love with a person in a dream?
Yes. Oh my
Those,
god, I have a story for
yeah.
that.
Go ahead.
This has happened numerous times where there will be someone that I maybe don't notice or I'm not in love with them. And I had this dream of this woman, this girl in my class, like in 10th grade, and we were like just infatuated with each other. And it was really like a movie, that feeling. And I woke up and that feeling stayed.
Hmm.
Like it was like it was as if I had that relationship with the person IRL. And then, I go to school and I'm just like head over heels for this person.
I had the same exact experience. That was gonna be my story, where it was this girl that like I never again paid attention to, and we had this whole amazing, long, sophisticated story of our love for each other, and then you go to school the next day and you see them and you look at them differently,
Yeah.
and it's like, was that a message? Like, what is that? Like, what does it mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
so weird to
message
me.
that Jordan Jablon was supposed to never happened.
Yeah, that's yeah. The love thing is interesting because then you wake up kind of heartbroken too that it wasn't real because it was so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I've had one where I went back to sleep because it was so good, and I went back to sleep because I wanted to like have that dream
Yeah,
again, and then I did, and that
nice.
was a special moment. But
Sometimes
have
it's
you
hard
had
to get
that
back
before
in.
where it's like you're upset, what you're saying, you get upset
Yeah, and
about
or
being awake.
oh yeah, and it's hard to get back in for me. I
Yeah.
I
No,
struggle
yeah, me
getting
too.
back in, but I think I've been more successful than not. I think I've gotten in pretty well back into dreams. It might not be the same exact script. It might be like a little altered and we're in a different location. It's different, faces, but it's the same emotional feeling
Hmm.
that's
I have a
happening.
dream one. I had a dream where I was being murdered,
Hmm.
and it was so scary and so real that I woke up and I was convinced that it actually happened.
Wow.
Have you
Well,
like woken up from a dream and been like, I don't care that like I just woke up from a dream, like I know that was real.
yeah.
It
I
felt
mean,
so it felt so real that it didn't feel like a dream basically.
yeah. I had a dream that my grandfather passed away, and I woke up and I went downstairs to like check on the family because it
Mhm.
felt so authentic and real for like the first 10 minutes of me being awake. And I didn't even ask them like, did Grandpa die or anything. Like I just kind of like looked at the room to see if there was like a weird somberness, but there wasn't. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. And
Yeah.
the fact that it lingered for like a good 10, 20 minutes after like my questioning if it was real or not, that's wild. Is it because I'm
Yeah.
still groggy and maybe I'm still stuck in that world, half in, half out? Or was it just such an authentic stream of dream juice? Like, I don't know what it
I
is.
like that you checked the feel of the room too. Because like you knew that if your grandpapa died, like people would be like acting their behavior, their tones, like that's pretty cool.
Well, because it was mostly just because I was like almost certain that it was a dream, but I was like a little, I could have been convinced otherwise. So like I didn't want
Yeah.
to outright ask because that's like a ridiculous question to ask like in the morning just randomly. Like
Hmm.
it's funny, but dreams are intense. I
Yeah.
uh I dream most heavily on melatonin. I don't know if you've ever tried melatonin.
I have. Can we take another bathroom break?
Yeah, let's take a break and then we'll talk about
For the
melatonin.
listeners who don't know, I have frequent urination and I'm going to a doctor in December. All right.
I'm glad. We'll be right back. I started taking melatonin when I was in college, and I just the first time I had it, I had the most intense nightmare ever. Like it accentuates your dreams and it amplifies and saturates it. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason it does that is because when you take melatonin, what it does, it basically extends the time that you're in REM sleep.
Mm.
So it's almost like in like a video game. If you pick up a shield or something, it just gives like a little bit more dream shield
Mm-hmm.
time,
I didn't know that.
and yeah, it's able to amplify your dreams big time. So if I'm ever like craving like an intense dream, I'll take some melatonin, and it works every time. I go into the craziest worlds with
I have so many questions about melatonin.
yeah.
Um, I don't even know where to begin. Like, does it help you go to sleep, or does it only teach your brain like we want you to feel tired at 11:15? Like, if I take it at 11:15, does it teach your brain like I
No,
want you to go to sleep at 11:15, or does it only make
no.
you tired like when you take it?
Yeah, when you take it, it's basically like a relaxant.
Yeah.
I don't think it has any actual like sleep, helping properties. I think it's more of a relaxant to help you kind of soothe your mind, soothe your body
It
before
definitely
you
has
go to
sleep
bed.
helping progress
It,
process
I'd
because
imagine it's
like
different than Ambien
it's
though.
good for it's a lot better than Ambien
Really,
because yeah, because melatonin, I think that it's a naturally occurring thing in your brain.
it is.
And then also I've heard that it's good for jet lag. So
Yes.
like if you want to get your brain used to like, hey, I know you think right now it's 12 p.m. or but right now it's actually like, you know, time for bed.
Hmm.
It's actually like 11 p.m. at night.
You're right. It does
Um,
trick you a little bit. It does kind of play games with you to make you think it's time to go to bed. I've actually
yeah.
I use it less now. I got medical marijuana for my back pains. I have scoliosis and for sleeping too because of the back pains.
I
And
feel like marijuana would take away REM, TBH,
I dream less when I use medical marijuana prior to sleep. I do dream less for
because
sure.
that's the criticism of uh, weed, Ambien, alcohol. It doesn't
Hmm.
give you that deep sleep.
You're right. You're right. And I try not to use it every night. I use it really when I need it with my back pain, and if I'm like really feeling like I'm not gonna sleep tonight. So I
Yeah,
use it more as a crutch, less than like I don't depend on it to sleep. I could
you're a
sleep
really
fine.
interesting marijuana user because I use it, and it's not necessarily relaxing. And
Mm.
for you, you can like take it and it just like puts you to sleep. It's just like very
Yeah, I
different
can.
than
Well,
yeah,
I could kind of direct it however I want.
yeah.
If I intake it and I'm like I need to relax, I need to sink into the bed, I need to go into my comfy world. I direct myself there. If I want to go on a
Mm.
wonderful journey of imagination in the shower with the lights off and just have fun, I can do that too. But I've. Do you have the ability to direct your eyes, or yeah? Okay, I feel
Yeah,
like that's
but
pretty
it's
common.
it's very conscious of me directing the high rather than like but yes. Yeah, I can.
That's fun that we can do that. We could
Mm.
just. It's like directing a movie in a way.
Yeah.
I have fun with that. Do you remember your first experience with marijuana?
Yeah. Yeah. I got high on a beach and I didn't get high. It was one of those
Mm.
things where,
Mm-hmm.
like the first time you don't get high. And so
Yeah.
then like I like kind of tricked myself into thinking I was high.
Yeah.
So I was like in 10th grade and I was like looking up and like my friends were like, "Oh dude, Marston's so high right now." And I'm like, "The lights look like stars."
Yeah.
And I'm like touching like thinking like I'm touching the lights. I was really just super relaxed. I got high, because what being high feels like. So the
Yeah.
second time I
Yeah.
just freaked the fuck out in a good way. I had
Sure.
really good. really good trip. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time never actually hits. I remember I was at like on the playground with a friend or something at like our local school. I was like 15, 16 years old, and you kind of always do the same thing when you start anything new. You kind of do this weird placebo effect where like you psych yourself out to think that it's working, whether it be smoking weed, buying a piece of technology and it doesn't work, but you're tricking yourself into thinking it works so you don't feel bad that you spent so much money on your new piece of technology. Like, it's fine. Yeah, it works. It's
That was
loading.
so
It's a little slow.
specific. What
Well,
is
that's me.
this?
Everything I buy
Okay.
is just I'm so bad at buying things that they always fail on me.
Got
But
you.
yeah, the placebo effect thing is fun with weed. I was talking to my medical marijuana doctor and I asked him, "Is there a difference between sativa and indica?" And he looked at me. He's like,
No,
"No,
there's
there's
not.
not. There's not. And I asked him,
Yeah.
I'm like,
It never
because
made sense to me, bro. I never felt
some
it.
people swear there is, and some people will say yes, there's definitely a difference. But I did this thing. I bought a sativa, so I get these little vape cartridges. I bought a sativa one and an indica one, and I switched them, and I don't know which one's which. And I told myself, but then I could check afterwards like which one it is. And I told myself, all right, this is indica.
Yeah.
And then I felt all sleepy and cozy and warm and relaxed. I looked at the label; it was the sativa.
Sativa. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
again, like
because there was one that was supposed to be like what you were saying, and the
the
other one
upper,
always
yeah,
gave me the sleepy. The
yeah.
upper one was what made me sleepy, and it was like, I don't get this.
So, yes, for people that don't know, sativa is kind of like the upper, and then indica kind of relaxes you.
No, because it doesn't exist.
But
Don't.
it doesn't. That's what they
You're.
say.
This is propaganda.
This is misinformation. You're right. But that is what they say. That is what's
Yeah.
supposed to happen. And I, I talked to him, and he's like, no, that's not the case. It's just kind of more of a placebo effect that, like, I think it's just more of a branding and marketing thing, in my opinion. There's gonna be
Yeah.
lunatics like freaking out, I'm sure, listening, saying like, "No, there's definitely a difference. Blah, 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 the THC levels, blah blah blah." I noticed no
Yeah.
difference at all.
I miss getting really into weed though. Like because the people who do that like give like really get into it. And like when I was in high school and I could just like when I could really enjoy it, it's not the same for me anymore. It's more like a spiritual thing now.
Mm-hmm.
But back then it was like I was a member of Normal. Do you know what Normal is?
No, what is that?
NORML, which is like um, a marijuana advocacy group.
Hmm.
I was on the marijuana forums, so I would like look up like
Yeah,
what kids were saying,
yeah.
and then I'd get like the White Widow. Back in the day, White Widow was the best.
Is that a
Purple
strain?
Haze,
Yeah.
yeah, White Widow
Okay.
was the strain. Purple Haze or Purple Kush. Purple Kush was the best. AK-47 was good, and there was
Okay.
something called like, and so then you'd like get like Purple Kush mixed with White Widow, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, this is like the best. It was like a fucking obsession. It was so fun. It's like
I
Pokemon cards, but like for like you're 3 years older, and now you've graduated to
yeah. That's a fun way to look at
marijuana.
it. And then you get like such a great experience out of your collection, out of your
Yeah.
purchases.
Hmm.
I always that
Did you ever get into
uh,
it? What was your high school experience like with weed?
I never got like into like the deep culture of it necessarily. Like I didn't really get into the forums. I was more of like a
You were
socialization thing.
sneaking though. You were like
Yeah.
sneaking behind alleyways and
Oh
getting
yeah.
high.
Yeah. I hid. I There were a handful of times where my parents found weed or a bong in the closet or something.
Yeah,
Like any other kid, but it
but it
was
was
more of
more
a
to fit
social.
in.
Not to fit in. It was just more of like a thing. It was a tradition. It's a thing that we did when we hung out with our friends. We would get high in the garage of my friend's house and just have a great time and relax. Uh, it was less of like a let's experiment with drugs. Like I just smoke. I've only ever smoked weed. I've never done anything else,
Yeah,
and it's not like a gateway drug or anything. That kind of thing that they say. It was just a enjoyable experience with my friends,
yeah.
being
How do you feel
mischievous.
about other drugs? I don't think we're
I've
even allowed to talk about this on YouTube, but like nobody's gonna give a fuck. But it's
No, I
crazy.
think we're good.
Yeah,
How do I feel about other drugs? I think I I'd be interested to try other drugs, but I'm not like jumping up and down about it. I feel like
Yeah.
I found something that's accessible, legal, and it gives me everything I want. It gives me
Mhm.
everything I need. At this point in my life, now that I'm a bit older, out of high school, mindset with weed, like I use it for medical purposes at this point. It's not necessarily like to get fucking blasted and travel. I definitely do that, but like I
Yeah.
use it for my stuff.
Yeah. Interesting.
But high school was fun, getting high with friends. My God, I mean, those are
Yeah,
some of my best memories.
for sure. Me too. I remember I I was like pretty into it, but I knew like okay, I only smoke it with friends. That was the rule that I made with myself because
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it's fucking arbitrary. But then like I started smoking it on my own in my room, and I'd crack open my window, have my little pipe, and you know the sound that your Bic lighter makes,
Yeah.
and then and my brother walked in as I was doing it, and he looks at me and he starts to cry. I
Oh.
can't believe because like we were taught that like this is what a
Oh.
sick person does. So
Yeah.
I'm just like smoking my, and he starts to cry. I feel so sad.
It must be weird as like an older brother to like,
Yeah.
because you set the example. I had this similar experience, I think, with my older brother. Maybe I don't know if I ever saw him, but like I kind of knew that he was doing it, and I was like, I'm so worried about you. Like I didn't know
Yeah.
anything at that point, but yeah, as an older brother, you have to set the example. So you probably felt like,
Hmm.
oh, he ran back to his room thinking you're
Just
a
crying.
crackhead or something.
Yeah, he said he's going to tell
Oh,
my mom. He actually
yeah.
never told my mom. He was a really good little brother.
No, that's sweet. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting caught sucked. It felt like the end of the world. When my parents found the bong in my room,
Right? It
oh my
felt like
god.
the end of the world.
It was world crippling. Everything was falling in on itself. It was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cuz
crazy it
you
was.
feel
It
so
was the worst.
ashamed. Cuz you
Yeah.
feel like you got caught being like a druggie by your
Yeah.
parents. Like
Yeah.
I'm a fucked up child. Like
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. Like and you just keep telling yourself that and it
Yeah.
spirals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I experienced that in high school, but I hope it didn't mess with my brain doing that so young.
It definitely did, but in my opinion, benefits far outweigh the negatives. Like there are studies that show
Mm.
that like if you do that shit, like the younger you do that stuff, the more likely you are to be like an alcoholic or an addict or
Mm.
whatever. So I'm sure there are like studies that are like this isn't great, but I had
I'm
no
pretty.
regrets here.
I don't have an addictive personality, so
No.
like maybe that helped. I don't know. I didn't
Ooh, I
think
have
of
a
it
good
now.
one.
Yeah.
There are cannabinoids in your brain, and they're linked to creativity. And when you
Natural.
smoke them, yeah, yeah, they're
Oh.
cannabinoids, natural chemicals in your brain called cannabinoids,
Oh, I didn't know
and
about
they're
that.
linked to creativity. And after a certain age, like you don't make any more new ones. But
Hmm.
like when you're growing up and developing into a prime young man, um, the THC will confuse your mind into thinking that like it has more than actually exist, and so
Oh,
then like it won't make them. So then you're like less creative than you would otherwise be. And I don't
that's
think that
interesting.
that's actually, again, I don't believe that, but that's what the studies, them's the facts.
Yeah, I don't know if I could even like qualify for being tested on that because I didn't smoke like that much. It was like every like Saturday kind of thing. Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
every weekday, but I feel like I turned out all right, as good
Yeah.
as you can be.
I guess I just feel like the idea that there's like no consequences to like anything, I just don't agree. It's like a good example of this is like okay, eating ice cream. It's going to make me feel like crap, but like I understand that, and I still really like ice cream.
Yeah.
And it's like smoking cigarettes or cannabis or anything else, you know.
Hmm.
That's my take on it, but
Do you have
it's
an?
all good to disagree.
Would you say that you have an addictive personality?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
I tried heroin once.
Really?
Yeah, more than once. It was so good. I already told you this.
I don't remember.
It was the best drug I've ever done ever.
Really? Well, I mean, I'd
Yeah,
imagine so. I mean, everyone,
so good.
so many people are strung out
Like
on
you
it.
should do it. If you don't have an addictive personality, you should do it.
No, I can never.
No,
No,
it's so good. You don't inject it, you smoke it. So it's like not like
I
it's
might. I
nothing
think I might have.
serious.
I might have done it by accident once. I.
The best one is that I had a friend who was like, it's not addictive.
Yeah.
It's like all propaganda. It's not real, you know. And then I hear that, and then but you did it once.
I think so. I had a intent. I smoked a friend's joint, and it was the most intense high I've ever had. It was not like any other high I've had. I went into like I saw the world for what it was. Everything was pixelated, and I saw
Yeah.
skeletons dancing in the sky.
Whoa.
Like there was something
That's
else going on.
similar. That sounds
Yeah.
right. That sounds like heroin to me.
I guess I did heroin. I did it. I did it, and I'm okay.
Congrats.
But yeah, I don't get addicted. I smoked cigarettes in college for like 2 or 3 years,
Oh my
and
god, I
then
miss cigarettes.
one day I just said, I'm done.
I don't even want
And
to
I
talk
threw up.
about cigarettes because people who are listening, like, I don't want them to get
Don't smoke. Yeah,
the hunger. It's so fucking sick, dude. Out of everything, that's the shit that's
yeah.
the hardest for me to quit.
There were definitely moments where like you walk by someone smoking. Even though I quit so easily, like I would walk by someone smoking. I'm like, that would be good right now. But I
Yeah,
never did it. I never
that's
fell back
sick.
into it.
That's literally sick. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
Yeah,
I think every smoker knows that feeling. It's just so fucked up.
it's like a light bulb turns on in your head. Like you want that. You got to
Yeah,
get that. But I'm
yeah.
lucky I don't have
I'm
that.
not doing it.
How do you battle having an addictive personality with like shitty things?
You just have a choice, you know. You put up your right hand, you put up your left hand. I can have put up my hands when I want. Same thing. Behavior. I have control.
Do you think you have ADHD or ADD? What do you have?
Hmm. I don't know.
Have you been diagnosed? You told me once
Yeah,
it's something. I don't know
yeah,
what it was.
yeah. I think they said more ADD than ADHD, but I'm not sure.
Do you th-
You
I,
know, that stuff is so hard to.
it's very hard to pinpoint, but do you think that at all has anything to do with your
What do you
addictive
think?
personality? Do I think it has anything to do with
Yeah,
your? I think
yeah,
so. I have a precedent. I have another friend that has ADHD or ADD, and he has a very addictive personality.
yeah. Because we get hyper focused on things.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
there's some correlation there.
yeah, for
You get
sure.
fixated on your things with your definitely with your writing, your comic books, your Funko Pops, your all these things. You jump into those worlds and you learn the world. You have a passion for learning that world. You
I
watch comic
appreciate that.
videos and yeah, it's such a cool thing. So like you do that, and then my friend, he's really into like wine, and then he got into rock climbing, and then he got into like all these like silly little things, and we tease
Yeah.
him, but like it is kind of cool. He's like he got a side gig at a wine shop, and he's very knowledgeable about wine, like, and he learned it within like the span of a year, and he's like an expert now.
Wow.
Like it's almost like I always say that like that might be the next step of evolution. ADHD, we look at it now as being this like
Mm.
learning disability or disability. I think it might be the next step in evolution, having these addictive personalities where people get so fixated on certain topics they become experts, and we just have a world of experts.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I
I like
this
that.
I kind of believe that might be true with some autistic savants.
I think
Maybe.
autism for sure.
Yeah.
Not a step in evolution, but I'm sure there have been a lot of autistic geniuses.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. For
Yeah,
sure. But
yeah.
yeah. autism. I thought I had it when I was younger. I was convinced that there was something very wrong with me because I just did not do well in school.
I
I'm
thought
like,
you just said autism. I had it when I was younger.
oh yeah, I got cured. I got a
You gotta,
reverse autism vaccine.
yeah. The
Uh,
tough thing about autism is that it mimics like childhood trauma. So if you grow up like with a dad who just looks at you like this,
Blankly.
yeah, just blankly, and you're talking to him like, "Hey, dad, like I'm like I love you a lot."
Just a blank face right
That's gonna
back.
make you fucking autistic, bro.
You think
Like
so?
it's gonna
Huh?
mimic the same behaviors as
Because you're not
autism.
learning. You're not learning how to express your emotions because
Yeah.
your parents didn't teach you
And to
at
be
an
more
early age.
accurate, it's probably going to be so early on, like that you're like a fucking 6 months old or something is when it happens. And
Interesting.
then I also noticed that autistic parents are a lot of the time like not are just kind of fucked up. Like children with autism didn't learn. Like, anyways, it's
Hmm.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know what to think of that because I definitely think that you can be born wired that way.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a spectrum, you have like very severe cases of people with autism where they're rocking back and forth talking to themselves, and then there's like the very high functioning ones.
That could be the from the womb though, or just a
It might, yeah.
fucking mother who cocked them
We,
up.
you're right. We call it autism, but it could literally be anything. Just
Could be.
because we labeled it,
We don't know what it is,
we don't
really.
know.
It's one of
Yeah,
those things we don't fucking know.
we like to label
So
things,
strange.
and we just put autism. Yeah, all of you guys are autistic. You guys are
Yeah.
all autistic. While it could be very different little things for each person, I don't think we all could be labeled as this, that, or the other. We're all
Yeah.
so weird and unique.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
why I think labels are horrible.
I
I
like that
hate
idea.
them. The idea that like
I use them all the time though.
I mean it's ingrained into our
I
culture.
shouldn't. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. You look at
I
the
th-
individual.
yeah, like the
You look
idea
at
that
the individual, not the autism.
exactly. Yeah.
But there are people who are just you good. Okay. I'm not gonna go there.
Sure. Be good.
Yeah,
Uh
be good.
the idea
Be a
that
good boy.
like you have to like label yourself as left or right politically or pro this, pro that. Like it's everything is so
Categories.
yeah. You have to have your label. What are your labels? Present your labels. It's like a
Yeah.
passport. I don't. I know. I hate that. It's
I
so
hate that too.
gross.
I hate it when people ask you for your label.
Yeah.
What's
Like,
your
what are you?
job? What's your
Yeah. What's your job?
political? Who are you voting for? Like all these like just stop asking me like just like one word fucking question answers, you
That's the
know?
best one. What's your job? We always ask that. I
Yeah, I
ask that,
hate
and
that one.
I hate being asked that because it's
Same.
like your your first evaluation of me is what do I do for work?
Yep.
Like, what if I say I'm I don't know a dirty janitor? Like, you instantly throw me into a category, and you haven't even fully met me yet
I have a
because we
big
make these
problem with that
judgments.
one. The dirty janitor. That's one of my biggest ones. Is like the fact that like you could clean up shit and just like that could be such a fun job. You're just
I
around
could.
kids. Like my friend is a janitor and he said it's
Hmm.
the best fucking job he's ever had.
I bet, but the issue is
He's like the
people
kids
judge
love
it.
him. I remember the janitor at my elementary school. He was so cool. It could be a lit job. There's so many jobs like that, and that
Yeah.
people just think you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a janitor. It's a job. Everyone has to do what they got to do. But the issue is people make these judgments right out the bat.
Yeah,
Janitor,
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
you must be this like disgusting horrible person. You must have failed at life. Like no, it's a job.
Mm-hmm.
You idiot. Like the
Yep.
whole job question's weird. But it's like this
What's
almost like you have to ask it cuz it's like this weird like introduction thing. Cuz
I never
everyone
ask it.
that's good. People probably appreciate that, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
Like, I I ask it just because I'm always like curious. Like, what do people do? What do you spend 8 hours of your day doing?
Hmm.
I ask it in that way,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like a lot of people might ask it in a way was like, "What's your label? What is like?
You.
What is your social credit
How do I
score? How
put
cool are
you
you?"
into this category, this folder that I have in my head? Where do I put you? So I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask you what your job is.
yeah, that's frustrating. And back in like 2016, instead of what was your job, was who are you voting for? You vote.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you remember like when I remember growing up, it was so inappropriate to talk about politics. I don't know if like that
No,
was
dude,
your
I talked
world.
about it all. It wasn't my world. I fucking talked too much about it.
Okay. In the way that I was raised, it was like you don't talk about money and you don't talk about politics.
Here's an interesting thing.
You know,
We didn't talk about sex in my childhood. I know it's strange, but we didn't really talk about sex.
like with
And now
family
I'm writing,
or
and now I came out with a book that's like very sexual, and sexuality really interests me. You grew up in a household that you couldn't talk about politics, couldn't talk about it, and now you're like very interested, or you were very interested in politics.
I'm interested in the way that like honestly not anymore. I don't follow the news. I don't have any feeds. I don't know what's going on. The way that I
But you
get
had a
notified.
thread before I interrupted you. Do you remember what it
I
was?
forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, I think it was about how my we didn't talk about money. We didn't talk about politics and how like I think it is kind of inappropriate to talk about politics so like bluntly in just a random conversation with a person you meet for the first time, or if you're out on a date or like something like that and
Mm-hmm.
you're just bringing up politics. I'm like, I always had the mindset that that's something very personal that you hold near and dear to you, and that it's not something that you so outwardly present to the world, because you could say one thing outwardly politically, your opinion, but it might change, or I hope it changes over time. I hope that you always developing a different opinion about subjects. So like I
Yeah,
never liked the idea of labeling myself as like, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm an independent. Like no, I'm just kind of fluid. I'm politically fluid. I'll mingle over there, mingle over here. I like this, I like that. Picking
mm-hmm.
like a menu kind of thing. It doesn't take
That
me
makes
anywhere
the
because
most
there's
sense.
yeah, but there's only two parties, so you're kind of stuck. So you have to kind of go one way or the other. You kind
Yeah,
of lean that way, lean that way.
yeah.
But yeah, labels are no fun.
So interesting. You couldn't talk about money. We just didn't talk about money. It's not like it was forbidden.
Well, don't talk about the family's finances with other people. That was
Oh,
one label.
that's whoa.
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
like don't tell people like we have this, that, or the other, or we're going on this
Wow.
vacation. Like we're very like private, humble. Like don't
Humble,
make it.
humble.
Yeah, don't make it a big
That's
deal. Like
Midwestern.
is it? Yeah, like
It's
that
I don't know.
southernly.
It's
It
not.
sounds.
It's not like Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Los
not
Angeles is
most.
like I
I
went to
will say
fucking
like
Hawaii.
yeah,
It's too much. It's on
show
the other
offy.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and similar to my town, I grew up in like a very affluent Jewish community in New Jersey, and like uh, the other kids did not abide by my family's rules. We'll put it that way. Like they were very like outward, like my dad's richer than yours, or like my dad got that Mercedes 5532. Like
At your in your life.
yeah, in my middle school, high school kind of
Oh,
mix,
that's
more so middle
gross.
school when we were more immature. But like
Oh well, yeah, we did stupid shit at that age.
yeah, it was very much like you know there was definitely like in my high school experience like this very competitive like who's going to Ivy League this year like competition, and it was cutthroat. It was cutthroat. My school district was intense. Parents would scream and abuse their kids if they got like a B or a C kind of thing. Like it was a very like intense upbringing because all the parents were lawyers, doctors, CEOs, you name it, big
So the
people in entertainment.
expectations to succeed in conventional ways were very high.
Very high, very high.
Yeah.
My parents were very lax about it, but my friends' parents and people that I kind of knew, like, it was very intense, their
Wow.
upbringing with education and making sure that you're doing all the extracurriculars, getting into doing internships, like doing internships in high school. Like, I mean, like, I know it's a common thing, but like, I had no interest in doing that. I don't. I just want to be a dumb high schooler. I don't want to do internships. That's no fun.
Makes sense. I
Man, I got
gotta
tennis.
go to the bathroom.
What is this, number
Would
3?
this be a good way to sign out of the podcast?
Yeah, I think this is good. We got an hour in. Um,
Samesies.
we'll be back next
But
week with more.
yeah,
And
before we head out, I do kind of want to talk more about what you were talking about with money and success, because I think that's important and it interests me. So can I go to the bathroom and
yeah,
then
yeah. Let's
cool.
not wrap this then. Let's keep going. We'll be right back.
Money kind of interests. Oh, I spilled my water. Money kind of interests me right now because
Yeah.
I I kind of like it. Like I like spending it on. I like investing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like invest. I don't like spending it on vacations. I know that this is very like
Mm.
specific to me, but it's just gonna be the way it is. Like I don't like spending it. I like investing it into something that's strange, like comic books or Funko Pops or what. Those are my two, the ones that I like, and it brings me great joy to learn about it and then to do it. And I think that like I feel a little bit guilty because I'm told that I'm not supposed to enjoy money and that
Mm.
it's like a hollow pursuit that like doesn't give like that spiritual fulfillment. And it does stress me out from time to time, to be honest, but like it's just like another thing that I just very much am interested in right now.
Mm. You like knowing that you're gonna get something back from it.
Hmm. More money, right? It's
And
like,
it's kind of
ah,
you
yes.
do it in almost like a game. You
Yeah.
gamified it in a way, like it's you're trying to level up with your Funkos, level up with your comics and
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So you were talking about kind of growing up, right, with
Yeah, and if
these fucking parents stressing their kids out to
yeah,
become doctors and lawyers.
yeah, it was bad. It got I don't know if like I don't want to bring that into it, but like there were, some students, killed themselves. It's happened. I
Hmm.
don't think it was related to I don't know if it was related
Mine
to like
was the kids
school.
in my the
It
kids
happens a
that
lot. Yeah.
in my neighborhoods who killed themselves because of academic stress, which is of course related to being a lawyer, being a doctor,
Hmm.
being successful.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that scenario in my town with the it was I think 3 my senior year of high school. Some of them recently graduated, then one of them was a classmate, and I don't think it was I don't know if it was related, but I'd imagine that the upbringing in my affluent, intense town probably didn't make them the most mentally sane people either. But I don't
Mentally
know.
insane
Mentally sane
for
people.
what?
I don't think you could be mentally sane growing up in a town like mine, where it was so
Yeah.
intense educationally,
Yeah.
and the pressure from your peers and then your
How did it
parents.
affect you?
For me, I kind of just tuned out and I didn't participate in it. I hated school. I didn't want to be there. I didn't enjoy it. I felt like it was holding me back from where I could be in life. And
Hmm.
ultimately, it was. I've definitely learned that it was holding me back in a way, emotionally, mentally, and just with like happiness. Like being locked in high school. I mean, no one enjoys it, but I really, really did not enjoy it at all. And it was weird because like my friend group was like very smart and they did well in classes, and I would kind of overhear them talk about their classes and their grades and what their pursuits are, and I'm like, I am not like you.
Have you noticed life gets better the older you get?
It does,
Yeah.
100%. That's like that whole campaign. I don't remember what it was for. If it was
It
for
gets better.
suicide,
It was for
was
gay
that
people, I
gay?
think.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's true. It
it
does, especially
does.
for young like gay kids, like yeah, it does get better. Like
For
high
sure.
school is not a safe place for those kinds of kids. So
No.
they get a very bad interpretation of what the world is at that young age. So that campaign was right. Yeah, it does get better. Life does
Yep.
get better. Definitely better by the year.
All right. Well, is that a closing off point? Send off?
It is.
I
This was
imagine,
fun.
imagine us having the animation capabilities of animating a spaceship just launching off into the moon and saying, you know, enjoy
Have,
space.
have a great time. We'll see you
Mm.
guys next week for episode 3. See you guys.
Yes.